Hello and welcome to the 15th episode of Juggle Jabber. I travelled to Aarschot in Belgium to meet with juggler and diabolo player Longequel. Eric is one of my longtime favorite jugglers, having such an amazing movement style and the funniest diabolo act that I've ever seen. And I met him in Belgium just before he was about to go on stage with compagie EaEo to present his new show All the Fun. We don't discuss all the fun in the show because I hadn't seen it before, but we'll talk about his other acts, other projects, future ideals, and how he got started in juggling and his various workshops that made him the performer he is today. I hope you enjoy this interview with Longequel.
Juggle Jabber.
Yes. Oh shit! Yeah. So that's why you had to start drinking before, because now I think. Okay. I think I had iced tea on the show one time before when I had with Manuel Mitasch, you know him?
Manuel Mitasch, yeah.
Yeah, he drank iced tea green with me, but I never iced tea peach. Why peach?
Yeah.
What's good about iced tea peach?
What's good about it? I don't know. I think I'm just used to it. It's sugar. It's not so strong. If you eat an actual peach before drinking iced tea peach, you're gonna think it's tasteless.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a habit.
Well, it works. I'm happy to try. Actually, I almost never drink iced tea, so for me it's always fun to get the different jugglers and drink things today.
Yeah.
Although not my habit yet, but maybe I'll make a new habit.
Should have chosen something more unusual.
As I said to you before, I've been following you for a long time. The first time I saw you must have been in the Diabolo videos, the Diabology videos, the DVD. That's
the
way
days,
back.
yeah.
What was the video called? Baguette and
Diabolos.
Baguette and Diabolos. Yes. And then later I saw you in Brussels with your solo Diabolo show.
Yeah.
At the convention 2011, I think.
Yeah, 2011. Yeah.
And you've been doing lots of projects. I've been following along and I've seen all your videos, but maybe for the people who don't know so much, can you summarize how you started to here in the shortest way possible?
Yeah. So I started juggling when I was 12 because I met a guy at my school who would juggle, and we would play some games with tennis balls in the playground, and he was able to juggle with 3 balls, so he taught me. The next year I found a hobbyist circus school, enthusiast circus school, and from then on I juggled a lot, but it was never professional until I was 24 years old, after I finished my studies as an engineer.
You studied engineer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was, a turning point. I could try to find a job. I had my diploma and all that, but I had also some opportunities with Antonin to make a show.
Mm-hmm.
So I went for that, hoping that it would work, and that's how it started. And then you make a show, you practice more stuff, you meet people. I met the Belgian from EaEo. We made a show together. Yes. Then I get to meet Guillaume. So then it's
so it rolls and rolls and now it's like 11 years ago that you started then.
Yeah, 13.
13. Okay, 13 days you started with Antonin. Because the show with Antonin, you said we hoped that it worked. You got invited to play at Cirque de Demain with it, right?
Yeah, but it took some time before.
Of course.
I mean, we started to make it in 2005, like to make it, not to perform it. And it was our first show, so many things we had no idea how to do them. We had no idea about costumes, no idea about music. We had some ideas about Diabolo, but all the rest was really complicated. And so we made the show. I think it went out it was ready in 2006, by the end of 2006. And then it took us something like 2 more years before we made actually a short version of it, an act, which was a bit difficult to make because we had less time. It's 7 minutes, really quick. And then only in 2010 I dared send the video to Cirque de Demain, or 2009, I can't remember. So just to say, it took time before we actually had an act that was, professional looking in a way, and that before I decided to actually apply for Cirque de Demain.
Yeah, because it's a rare situation that usually it's people who come from circus schools and have been trained how to make their costume and how to make their act, and of course you knew to play Diablo. Did Antonin, did he do anything
No,
Also not.
He
You
also
both
did
had to learn from the start.
some engineer studies, and just like me, we switched at one point, together at the same point, more or less. We said, hey, why don't we try to make a show? And it was quite reassuring to be two people trying at the same, making a show together, sharing their doubts, and having difficulties together on the same thing, like what shall we do for the costume, and how do we sell a show? Should we make a video? Should we send it? Should we call people and try to sell the show to them? And so it's all it's quite difficult when you don't go to a school, because you don't get to go inside the circus network so easily. You have to find ways. So for us, the way we did that was through Chalon Festival, which is a street festival in France, and Vivacité Festival, which is kind of the same, and Aurillac, which is kind of the same as well. So it's 3 big festivals, and they have a huge programmation. You can really apply, and they book many shows. That's to say that it's easy to get there.
Yes.
You don't get
but
paid.
It's harder to get noticed there. I've been to both Aurillac and Chalon, and there's just so much
so much stuff. But you don't have to be there and be the best and be the hype. You can also get there and you find 15 contracts in little festivals in France. Like we have many little street festivals in France, and if you have this, then it's okay. It's starting to things are starting to move, and you get to meet some other people, and people get to see your show. So you don't have it's hard to be noticed in this kind of festival, but you don't have to be like the super hype for it to work. There are many theater programmers there, and things can go easily good in this festival. If you don't fuck up, it can be really helpful. It helped us a lot.
And in these years of creation and not yet knowing what and how did you sustain yourself? Did you work at the still walk on the side? Or?
So I worked as a math teacher on the side.
Oh wow!
But I was living in Paris, so it's extremely expensive. So before I went on the big adventure, I made a deal with my parents, and the deal was I'm gonna try for 1 year, and after this 1 year we have a discussion, the 3 of us, like. Should we give it another year? Should we give another year of try? And they agreed to sustain, help me financially as long as I would work.
So they were your artistic subjects.
Because the math lesson, I would teach a lot of math at that point, but it was really not enough to pay for the minimum rent in Paris. And on the other side, I had to be in Paris because all my very little network was in Paris, so if I had left for another place, I could not have done any shows. So it was a deal, and in the end it took 1 year and a half for me to be able to actually pay my rent. And so I went through the first year, talked with my parents, and I told them it's going quite good. We are hired for Chalon Festival, it's going to change everything. So it should be okay, and indeed it was after this Chalon Festival, it was fine. Like the machine was rolling. So thanks to them. I'm not watching any
Thank you, Mama.
videos on internet, but just in case.
You just mentioned your small network in Paris. I read an interview with you. I was reading in the train again, and that you were juggling a lot with Minh Tam.
Yeah.
Was Morganne also in Paris?
No, it was in Toulouse.
But Guillaume was in Paris at the time.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people that you still work with actively. Like, how does this work? How do you attract these people to you that are able to make such a lasting impact, and you still perform with some of these people, and Jean-Daniel Fricke and Jonathan and the people who now direct your shows, and was it all from Paris, or was
no? Minh Tam was actually the first I would say important person I met because he was professional by then already. He had been professional for a few years, so he gave me some advice on many things. And Guillaume was there as well, and we were at the same point, trying to become professional, and asking Minh Tam some advice and stuff like this. So that's how I got to meet Guillaume and Minh Tam in the very small network of the Parisian juggler. There was also Pich, a guy who manipulates ball. Does ball manipulation, and he was also trying to become a professional, so we would, exchange some trick. And by the way, he was the one who said, there is this festival, it's Vivacité, this street festival in France, you should go there. And we went there together. So there was a whole, I can't name everybody, but there was a whole team of, Parisian juggler trying to become professional and make a living out of juggling, and we would support each other a lot. So, yeah, Pich, Minh Tam, Guillaume are really some people with whom I exchange a lot of on the subject. And this, you talked about Jonathan or Johan. So Johan, I met him randomly because I was lost and not knowing how to make things. So I took some workshop. And one of them I took with Gaëlle Bisellach-Roig, a very important juggler from France. She would juggle clubs, manipulation stuff, when it was not so obvious and common for everybody. She was one of the first people who did that. So we took a workshop, and I met Johan there, and Johan told me, I'm organizing some workshops. Do you want to participate? So I went there as well. And this is where I met Jean-Daniel Fricker. I took 3 workshops with him, and it was a big change in my juggling career. I really learned from him some stuff that are still useful today. I mean, now it's
like what kind of things?
It's hard to describe. Like it's how to be on stage or whatever. How to behave body-wise on stage, or
because right now you're a very physical juggler. It's
I think
more about the body than about the balls. Often.
Maybe with him I learned that how to like to move in a certain way. His vision of why you go on stage, and it's hard to put into words. It was a twice 10 days of workshop, so it's very intense, and we did lots of things, exercise, and still now I can feel this thing that we did in the workshop 10 years ago, it's still there in my body. I think a lot of people took a lot from this workshop. How many were we? We're 15 people, and I think many of us I could feel after the workshop when we got to meet each other that we were still thinking in a way that was the way Jean-Daniel would think and make things during the workshop. So I think it's very linked to this workshop, that it was an intense way and a deep way of working, a very deep way of speaking and working with the body and the body with juggling. And for me it was really, I would not, by the way, I didn't expect it. Before I went to the workshop I thought I would hate it because it was very weird and unusual, let's say. But in the end it was a lot of freedom in the exercise. We could improvise a lot and explore a lot of things. So I took some other workshops, plenty of them, they helped me a lot, but definitely these 2 workshops with Jean-Daniel were very special, and really aside from all the other things that I've learned. And that's where I got to know Johan, and it was the same with him. I mean, I didn't take a workshop with him, but exchanging with him and the way we talk together is really like a professional life companion that we meet in different projects. Now it's been 10 years.
It must be a luxury to have, that you can lean on people for such a long time and know where you are and towards or similar points. Or
I have to say, I've been very lucky. I've always met people that really helped me. Antonin, it was really super fun to work with him at the beginning. He was very clever, the way he thought about diabolo was very clever. And then the Belgian guys, because they were not afraid to make a big show and make mistakes, and everybody that I met actually helped me a lot. So I'm, as we say in French, I'm touching wood. We say that when
Yes, you say in English too, touch wood when
touch
you...
wood. That it's gonna carry on like this. I'll be making a new project with Johan in 3 years. So
you plan so far ahead?
Yeah, sometimes.
You can, if I get a good project, I would not be able to wait. I want to start tomorrow. But how does
it's exactly like this. You say, in 3 years we will do this project, and then as soon as you said that, you start thinking about it, talking about it, like sending emails. Hey, I have this idea. I found this, and there is also a whole professional thing that you have to. Go to theater and let them know that this guy and me, we are making a new project. Do you want to help us participate or pre-buy the show? And it's a whole commercial process. So as soon as you said we make a show, it's like putting the finger.
And then you go down the hole and it's not anymore.
Exactly.
What do you practice when you train? Do you still repeat material from your dance class, or do you practice your technical juggling skills? Or because all of the stuff you do seems to be at a very high technical skill level, from your diabolo to your balls, but also your movements are very controlled, it seems.
Yeah, I don't know. These days, I don't know exactly how I practice. It's for a while. I was improvising a lot, and being in body qualities and trying to find the right throw within this quality of movement, or sometimes starting from a cool movement and trying to put balls in this movement and finding the juggling that would make sense with this movement and that would not be just stick on the top of it, like I don't know, I roll on the floor and I do the cascade. It's not so much intricate. I like to intricate things that these movements make me catch the ball, that makes me go on the floor. So that was the way I work. And
so
now,
mostly research-based kind of, where you search for.
It was half research, very mentally. Like I have this movement. What body throw should I do? How can I make one more throw to make the thing a bit more rhythmical? And also a lot of improvisation, like throwing randomly and trying to understand which throw. This throw was good. Let's do it again, and finding some quality there. But now I'm trying to. I can feel the limits of this process, which is most of the time when I improvise and I do something which I think is good, I'm having a hard time reproducing it a second time because I was in the improvisation. I don't know exactly. It felt good, and I do it again. I'm not so sure it was this throw. Maybe the body shape was not like this. Maybe I throw a bit later, a bit earlier. So it's very hard now for me to create material, new sequences. And also I'm having this question like, why would I make a new sequence again? Some more.
Yeah, if you already know, you have so much material by now, I suppose.
Well, I don't have so much. That's the thing.
There's multiple long-time shows.
I feel that I can produce more of the same thing I have, and I'm wondering like, why would I do it? I have a hard time finding the motivation. Like I remember like 2 months ago, I found a nice sequence that I've forgotten now. Because it was just more of the same usual stuff that I always do. So I'm trying to do something new, and it's fucking hard because I'm not so young and inspired anymore. So it's really hard to avoid repeating the same habits again and again. So yeah, now it's a bit of a turning point as well now.
Why do you want something to be new? Is it for yourself, or is it for your audience, or?
Yeah, maybe it's a good question. Maybe to keep it exciting, or that it doesn't look rotten when I do it. I don't want my juggling to look like, probably when he used to do it 10 years ago it was cool, but now it feels really less intense. He doesn't do it so well. It's less.
But don't you think you get smoother or better at the material that you practice for 10 years?
Yeah, at the beginning, yeah, but after a moment you get lazy as well. You also get like you used to do this and you go, yeah, okay, it's fine. I don't have to move so much, or you will jump on the floor and crash and catch the ball here, and then you just slide on the floor and catch the ball there because you don't want to drop and you don't want to hurt yourself. So it's hard to maintain a quality in the juggling. Well, for me at least, I'm not saying for everybody, at least for me, when I do it again and again, and especially with this kind of juggling, which is a lot about how you move the body and how you shape it and how you feel inside. Mm-hmm. I rely a lot on my feeling, like I feel this movement is beautiful or ugly or whatever. So it's not so fixed. It should be, but it's not the way it is, unfortunately. So I can get lazy over time. So I want to keep the juggling alive. Let's say alive, just not so say fixed thing that in reality is gonna rotten little by little. That's the first reason. I wish I could, be like a musician in a way. Like after they practice piano for 20 years and they're freaking killers, then they have these tools and they can do many things.
Very much an extension of your emotion. Like you can feed,
and then you're good just.
But with juggling, you
can go and improvise. And I don't know how they keep being fresh. Because now when I improvise juggling, I'm having a hard time being fresh and not reproducing the same thing, old thing. And also when you do an old thing in an improvisation, if you perform an old sequence, an old juggling sequence, do you perform this old sequence because it's safe and you feel comfortable with it, or because it was good for this moment in the show? So I guess I feel that the more I have material, and the more I get to choose what I actually want to do, and the less it's a default choice. Like, yeah, I did this routine because it's the only routine I have, so yeah. I think it's exciting as well to keep pushing the juggling, to discover new things. So now these days I'm working with Gilligan, and it's pretty exciting because he works totally different than me. He's so high on weird objects, objects that don't exist, and it's very new. It's a new inspiration for me. Like
was the show How to Welcome Aliens?
Yeah,
is it still in progress, or is
yeah,
the show?
It's in progress. It's coming out in April.
Ah, okay. Because I thought people said something. I haven't gone to EJC this year, but people had seen it at EJC, but I don't know if it was a sketch or.
Yeah, no, it was not a sketch. It was something. It was a one shot.
Okay.
One shot show. Some material in it was of course excerpt from the Alien show, but the show itself was a one shot for EJC. A bit performance kind of thing, like we tried some weird stuff. Yeah, it was quite fun.
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to that. Sadly, I haven't seen that one yet. I went to AJC. I also haven't seen Flak, so I have to. When I want to talk about shows, I have to refer to your older shows, because I have seen, like I said before, your Diablo solo.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of approach you have to shows, because particularly the Diablo one, it's not so much about this movement at all. It's very much about a comical character on stage and the progression you make. Do you still work with this kind of characters? And how do you approach this, and where does influence come from? Because it's very different from the movement juggler where you describe and talk with your hands.
So the Diablo solo is very old. It was before I made it, before I took the workshop with Jean Daniel. So I was
really wow.
Yeah, I was not so involved into the body work by then, and it happened after Guillaume went to do the audition.
So that's the switch. Now we can see also then what changed, because
we took a moment to, like, we set a challenge. We were at a convention, there was an open stage, and it was, let's go on stage, it's in 1 hour, and we don't have an act. We just make one, no music, make an act. And Guillaume helped me to sketch the Diabolo act, like to have this character very still and arrogant, because it was a very common joke by then between Minh Tam, Guillaume and me to have this, you do a trick and then you show off all this humor. So I made a sketch of the act, and it took years and years before I finished it, because it was my first act. Morganne helped me a lot with the direction of the act, and where was I going? Yeah. And then when I performed it, when you saw it, it was a very nice, funny exercise that I had made. I had this diabolo act with the character and the ball act, which was this movement.
Yes.
And the challenge was how can I make a show that starts with the diabolo and finishes with the ball, and that doesn't look too weird, like to make a progression. Yeah. But I only performed it once, twice, because there were 2 shows in the evening.
Yes, I remember.
That was this only time.
But then the ball piece was influenced by the workshop by then, or that was also still...
Yeah, the ball piece was totally influenced by the workshop.
Okay, it's funny to see these 2 overlaps. So I remember seeing in the audience, I was more confused by the ball piece. I really liked the other piece, but there was indeed 2 different worlds in a way.
Totally.
And it was a funny overlap. The overlap worked for me then, but
it was a concept.
Yes.
And so now I don't work so much with this character anymore. Although I perform the diabolo act from time to time, and contrary to the ball juggling, I fear that the ball juggling is getting old and all that. And the diabolo act, I don't fear that it gets old. I mean, the older the better. It's always a pleasure to perform it again, and especially because all the tricks that are in it are really. They used to be new 10 years ago. Now they're really old. So it's becoming some kind of very vintage diabolo act, even in the technique, which is now totally from the past.
The techniques would be now easy as well.
Yeah. So I like it a lot for this, but I don't work with the character so much. Although I think I do have this natural. If I go on stage and I want to be funny, I'm gonna naturally take some tools from this character because it's something that I knew enough. It's again some laziness. When you find a character with which you're confident, you tend to use it again over and over again.
Because I think in the previous show with the Belgium guys, the M2 you called meter squared. Square meter. I think there also is a lot of character work, not so much just by you, but the Belgian guys in general. They're such strong characters. Of course, I haven't seen the new show yet, but then is the new show. Do you get to use this character again? Is it all focused on the juggling, or because they are the character? They cannot do anything else.
The new show has very few character. Well, no character at all. It's really what I like to do now. Like I like to go on stage and not having a character, but being a juggler that just do juggling performance. And the new show is very much like this. We are very natural, I should say. It's not really a good word, but we're very normal, and we come on stage and we do this juggling and this juggling. So it's very, very juggling focused, and it's really something that I like now. I like that. I like to see a good show with character. I like it, but I don't like when the juggling doesn't make any difference. This is a funny guy and he juggles at one point. I don't.
When you can replace it with acro, unicycle, or slapstick.
I like that if there is character work, I like it when the character and the juggling say 2 different things, and therefore that together they create a whole thing. I don't like the juggling says the same as the character, because then one of the 2 is useless. I like that the juggling is weird, but the character is funny, whatever. I think it's very, very fun that when the juggling gives you some extra information on the character, or the character gives you extra information on the... And I think as well the whole thing, character versus juggling, is not a good way of seeing things. It's not so efficient to think about a show. This juggler Luke Wilson used to say the technique is the character.
Yes.
And it is. And I guess in my diabolo act I could argue that it is the case, that the technique is kind of the character. And so for this show, no character, very few.
Just the juggling, and the juggling at its best.
Exactly.
Well, let's move on to the future. You already mentioned you have a project coming up in 3 years.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, now you have a show that's full on about juggling and that's much character. Where does this go? What are you doing in 10 years? What are you interested in? What do you...
In 10 years?
Yes, where do you think this is going?
I have no idea. After this... these days I'm directing, I'm advising, a lot of shows, and I like it a lot. I like to, when some jugglers ask me to come to help them with directing a show, and they show me the material, they have the juggling material, and I like to try to understand really well what their juggling is and what the strength of it, and try to dig and push them to enhance this material. So it's really interesting for me now to try to understand the juggling of other jugglers, and it's really inspiring as well.
To understand, does that mean you also try it yourself, or do you just
No,
watch?
Understand, watch that. You did this trick. I think this trick is about whatever, being beautiful or being funny. So maybe we could try it like this. Maybe I think it's a kind of trick. If you repeat it twice, it's gonna be super nice. Let's try it. It's not so perfect yet. So maybe if you do.
So really the work of outside eye.
Yeah, but it's at an outside eye. I really. What I like as an outside eye is when the juggling from the jugglers that I help is really a kind of an enigma that I have to solve. What is this juggling about? Because at the beginning it's just juggling, it's some technical stuff, but there is always something hidden in the technical stuff, because these jugglers, they made this juggling for a reason. They like it, they like the way. They like this body throw for one reason, and they put all these body throws together for many reasons. So it's nice to try to understand and say, you can try it with one ball, maybe it can be a duet. No, it's not a duet. If we do this kind of music, it's going to enhance a lot the feeling that there is already in the technique. So let's put this music to try to enhance or create a contrast. So it's all about. I really describe it like trying to understand what they do and help them figure out what it is, what they do as well. Because as a juggler, I know that when I do juggling, I don't always understand exactly what it is that I like about the throw. It's always, it feels good, or we should do a sequence like this, it's going to be funny. But then it takes the help of someone outside to say, it's funny because this reason. And that's true. That's why I like this sequence. And then together we can work to fix it. And when I'm advising the jugglers, I really like this feeling of having to understand what it's all about, and from this point, try to create a show for the audience to see.
So it always has to then also be juggling-based shows, I imagine. The juggling and the focus of the.
I don't feel so good. I could not direct. I think. A theater show, a dance show. I don't have the tools. So maybe this in 10 years, directing a lot of show, or making something like totally different. Maybe give up and leave the juggling as it the juggling career is done, and do something else.
I hope not, but otherwise, as a career as a math teacher, it's always a possibility. We need to wrap up because you need to rehearse. I have 3 more short questions that we probably can fit in. The first, easy, if people want to find out more about you, what do you recommend? Where should they look? Your website, your YouTube channel, what is the best place for people to find
stuff that I made?
Or make, or where should they watch you? Where are you performing?
They can watch the schedule of the shows, so CIEEAEO.com has all the gigs of All the Sun and How to Welcome the Aliens.
Yeah, that's also how I found today, so I'll put a link down.
Defracto.com has a very lame schedule, but if you're persistent enough, you will find all the gigs that we do on it.
Okay.
And I think I have some stuff on YouTube. There should be the old Diabolo duet Philophile.
Yes, that's definitely worth watching.
But rather than don't search it on YouTube, because you will find a version of it where we drop a lot. If you go on philophile.free.fr, you will find the official website of the company, and I think there is a link from the website to a good video of the show. And I think there is some other things. There is Faux Sanglant, a video I made a while ago.
Yes, with the condoms filled with blood.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
yeah.
Yes.
I think it's jugglingmovies.com or something.
I will
like
make sure to put the link.
Yeah,
I found it,
put
so
the
they can
right
find
link.
it. Yes.
It was website. I can't remember the name. Yeah, and some other stuff on YouTube. I think I have an old ball video that's on. If you type my name, it just pops out. I don't.
It's on raining
I
with
haven't
videos.
made so much videos, so it's not really hard to find. Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to share and add to the juggling community right now? There's a platform.
Well, not really actually. I don't have any idea. It is quite a surprising question. Like, keep on juggling and make new tricks.
Oh, that can never hurt.
And try to, I don't know.
Then last, do you want to show that you're the real deal by quickly showing a trick? I brought some balls. I don't really have your balls.
So I'm gonna show you my new obsession, my new trick that has been obsessing me for a few months now.
Oh, exciting. How many do you need?
Only 3, of course. I'm not really.
They're mine, so they're yellow. That's
so I hope.
mine quality too.
I hope it's gonna work with these ones, and I hope we have enough lights.
Oh, yes. I have extra light later, so let's turn around. Oh, yeah. Yes.
If you lift up.
Oops.
So yeah. So the whole thing was I was trying to do this trick on elbows. So it was supposed to go. I put it rolls and I put it rolls and I put it rolls, but of course it's too hard. So I came up with this idea. It's rolling on the head and then on the elbow, which makes it really easier. So I have a 4-2-3 like this. That I like a lot. It's really cool with this ball, by the way. So that's my special trick.
Super nice, thank you.
Of course, the goal is to do the cascade version of it, which I can't do now. So not a 4-2-3, but a cascade would be like this. I really can. Yeah. 2 throws is my best. So
Brilliant.
I hope you can imagine what it looks like in the end.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.
That was a lot of fun.
Did you get your tickets?
No, I will get some at the desk and then.
Normally you can give your name and you don't have to pay for it.
I don't worry about it.
Cool.
They already see my face.
So I'm gonna warm up. Thank you. See you
Good
after
luck.
the show.
Yeah, see you after the show.
Bye
Bye bye.